This coming Halalan 2022, we would again cast our votes hoping for a better nation. But do we really understand why do we vote? Voting signifies the power of every citizen to keep the government system working. It is a privilege that every citizen must be able to freely enjoy. It is also about exercising the rights our ancestors fought for. A first-time voter or not, this country needs intelligent votes now more than ever. Voting simply isn't our right, it is our right. If you want better laws and regulations to preserve our environment and natural resources, then vote for people who advocate for the environment in the Senate and in the local government. If you believe we need a better healthcare system, programs, and laws, then it's time to elect leaders who prioritize medical and healthcare needs of Filipinos.
For me, as a citizen, it's not necessary to vote for someone that you didn't know him or her at all. Like, what's the meaning of voting if someone would go advantage to it? We want a president that who's known for his actions, not by his name, his doings, not by his publicity. For me, I want a president that will change the Philippines for good. Known as the Philippines, the great country to visit or to stay in local or international. No corruptions, no illegal doings, no killings. A president will give a peaceful country and better future because that's what we deserve. I hope everyone will choose wisely. Thank you.
Citizens also have the obligation of voting. All thought residents are not required to vote by law. Voting is an essential aspect of every democracy. Citizens participate in the democratic process via voting. Citizens elect leaders to represent them and their beliefs, and the elected officials support the citizens' goals.
It is important for citizens to vote. If without a citizen, it would not be able to choose the people who will run their government. It is a major responsibility. Those that do not vote are failing to carry out a civic responsibility. They are also handing over their political power to who they may oppose.
We are the ones that shape our own future, as well as the ones who need to work hard to achieve it. But working hard can only go so far. This goal can be affected by external factors like compensation and the cost of living. That's why we need to have a government that will help us achieve our goals a lot more easier by making the living condition we are in more bearable. Hence, the importance of exercising our rights to vote and not making it lightly, because whoever in a position in the next 6 years has a power to dictate on how hard we need to work to be able to achieve those set goals.
As for me, it's important for citizens to vote in order to understand what we're voting about. I have few reasons why we should get registered and vote. First, elections have consequences. Second, do not give up your voice. Third, voting is an opportunity for change. And lastly, the community depends on you or on us. Some may not know how important voting is, while others don't have privilege. Make decisions to vote for yourself and those who are around you. Make sure that your voice is heard. Vote wisely.
Voters need to be educated to ensure that they understand their rights and responsibilities as a citizen. Voting is one of the most significant responsibility of citizens because it is part of certain democracy. Citizens elect leaders to represent them and their beliefs, and elected officials who support and citizen goals. To cast legally valid ballots and engage actively in the voting process, voters must be properly competent and well-informed goals to achieve certain development in our country. We must choose a good, responsible leader, and in order for us to have a deserving leader, voters must be educated enough.
It's quite easy to refer to politics as the most serious issue. The fundamental issue is that voters do not vote for the right individuals, nor do they hold politicians to a high level. Voters claim to want change, but they continue to elect the same people into positions of power. It sends the wrong message to our politicians, implying that their government work is unimportant and that winning is completely reliant on their campaign performances. The separation of powers and responsibilities among the three branches of government is also unknown to most citizens. They believe that electing a president is similar to appointing a superman who can move mountains at command. People competing for executive position frequently promise lawmaking improvements. People running for political position often display posters with their faces on them, claiming credit for welfare programs rather than laws they have approved.
We need to be more educated when it comes to voting because when we vote, we are ultimately deciding the future not only to ourselves, but also to our country and those people around us. We need to choose not just the best, but the better and right leaders who will do their responsibilities to make our community more progressive and successful.
Voter and civic education are required in every election to ensure that all constituents, men and women alike, understand their rights, their political system, the contest on which they are being asked to vote, and how and where to vote. To have a successful and democratic election, voters must understand their rights and responsibilities, as well as be sufficiently knowledgeable and well-informed to cast legally valid ballots and participate meaningfully in the voting process. Voter and civic education are even more important in post-conflict countries, where political situation can be volatile and election can have far-reaching consequences for the country's future.
Voters in every election must understand their rights and responsibilities, as well as be sufficiently knowledgeable and well-informed to cast legally valid and meaningful ballots. Voters in civic education are even more influential in post-conflict countries, where political situation can be risky and elections can have much further consequences for the country's future.
Emilio Aguinaldo. In 1998, Emilio Aguinaldo achieved independence of the Philippines from Spain and was elected the first president of the new republic under the Malulos Congress. He also led the Philippine-American War against U.S. resistance to the Philippines' independence. Emilio Aguinaldo, who founded the Republic of the Philippines so that our independence from conquest was recognized as a reason to fix the flag that symbolizes our Filipino identity.
Manuel L. Quezon 1935 to 1944, ama ng wikang pambansa. The next transitional government under former President Manuel L. Quezon proclaimed Tagalog as our national language, accepted the proposal for women to vote, and established the National Economic Council to raise the country's economic status.
Jose P. Laurel, 1943 to 1945, SPL. One of the most controversial former president of the country is Jose P. Laurel, for allegedly following the wishes of his administration met with the implementation of plant-to-live policy as a solution to the hunger experienced by our countrymen during Japanese occupation.
Sergio Osmeña, one of the founding nationalists, Sergio Osmeña Sr., started to give an order to the war damage. And this is one of the last of the opening of the Philippine National Bank under his leadership, our country participated in the International Monetary Fund?
Manuel Rojas. The Rehabilitation Project through the Philippine Rehabilitation Act states that the United States will pay those affected by the war and give rewards to those who have been honest of the United States.
Due to the case of corruption, the next president, Elpidio Quirino, he established an integrity board to suppress corruption. And also, he built many factories that provide employment to our countrymen. During his administration, he built the well-known hydroelectric power plant in Maria Cristina Falls and also in Bulacan.
Ramon Magsaysay 1953 to 1957, Man of the Masses. The foundation of the National Resettlement and Rehabilitation Administration to advance the Southeast Asia Treaty Organization against Communism, as well as the establishment of the Presidential Complaints and Action Committee, were one of Ramon Magsaysay's accomplishments. The country is ranked second in the rating of clean and well-governed countries in Asia during Magsaysay administration, although he did not complete his term since he died when the plane he was on crashed.
Carlos P. Garcia, 1957 to 1961, father of the first policy. Carlo P. Garcia was left with the responsibility of the country. He tried to raise the livelihood of the Filipinos through the austerity program. Filipinos' first policy and Bolen-Serrano agreement that the shortened the stay of the American military base in the country.
Diosdado Macapagal was the ninth president of the Philippines from 1961 to 1965. He also the vice president from 1957 and 1961. He is one of the most responsible former presidents since he also contributed a lot to our country and to the lives of Filipinos. He also managed to give great solution to every issues that Philippines had encountered. A lot of Filipinos had witnessed his great legacy. During his presidency, Macapagal sought to combat graft and corruption by also boosting Philippines' economy. He devalued the peso, stimulated export, passed the country first land reform legislation, and aimed to reduce income tax evasion, notably among the country LPS families, which cost the government millions of pesos each year. The reforms, however, were stifled by nationalistas dominated House of Representatives and Senate because of certain issues. He was defeated by Ferdinand Marcos in the 1965 presidential election. He then passed when he was 86 years old on April 21, 1997. 4 years, Diosdado Macapagal served to our country wholeheartedly and responsibly. Great respect must be given.
Ferdinand E. Marcos, 1965 to 1986. Ferdinand Marcos next took office. His regime led to the emergence of huge hospitals such as the Heart Center, National Kidney Institute, and the Philippines Children Medical Center. There was also the renovation of infrastructure such as the wide roads, bridges, and schools in his first term. Marcos also strengthened the judiciary and the armed forces, but it was overshadowed by all of the controversies caused by the declaration of martial law. And on February 26, 1986, Marcos left Malacanang as a result of the EDSA People Power Revolution.
Corazon C. Aquino, 1986 to 1992, People Power President. Corazon C. Aquino, the first female president in Asia for her contribution the Family Code of 1987, the reorganization of the executive branch and the Supreme Court. Under her administration, Congress passed the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law that paved the way for the contribution of land's agriculture to tenant farmer from its owner.
Fidel V. Ramos took a part in the power crisis. we experienced at the end of Cory Aquino administration during his term to advance the peace process agreement between the government and the NMLF in the economic field, because Fidel Ramos laid a good foundation in the field of entrepreneurship, and there was a severe Asian financial crisis in 1997. With the help of our strong market, it had less impact on our country.
Joseph Ejercito Estrada. Next elected chief executive was Joseph Ejercito Estrada, era for the poor campaign of the former artist, so the National Anti-Poverty Commission was established. And in Luzon, on enterprise development for the poor, the Estrada administration is proud of the defeat of the camp and headquarters of MILF. More than 2 years it took the Estrada administration.
Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. The Gloria's administration implement holidays economics. Some of the Arroyo's contribution are the increase of GDP or gross domestic product, and the implementation of EVA or expanded value-added tax to cover the country's funding.
Benigno S. Aquino III, 2010 to 2016. No Wangwang policy, K-12 education system, equipment improvement on the establishment of the truth commissions, and promotion of the country's RH-Bell economy are among Benigno S. Aquino III contributions.
Rodrigo Roa Duterte, 2016 to 2022, Tatay Digong. By the current administration of Rodrigo Roa Duterte, he is the first president from Mindanao and the older person elected president of the Philippines. Duterte started a nationwide campaign to rid the country of crime, corruption, and illegal drugs. The war on drugs saw about 6,600 persons linked to the illegal drug trade killed as of July 2019. Duterte prioritized infrastructure spending, initiating the massive Build, Build, Build infrastructure program. He enacted the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act, which paved the way of free college education in all state universities and college nationwide, and the tax reform for acceleration and inclusion law or TRAIN law, which lowered personal income tax and increased consumption tax on non-essential goods. He signed into law the Bangsamoro Organic Law or BOL, which established the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region.
The 10 Commandments on how to vote wisely. Number 1. Know everything about each candidate. Number 2. Scrutinize their credentials. Number 3. Listen with an open mind. Number 4. Focus on issues, not personal attacks. Number 5. Never vote based on popularity. Number 6. Analyze how they handle stress. Number 7. Don't fall for these so-called God-fearing politicians. Number 8. Don't just join the majority vote. Number 9. Listen to critics but avoid haters. Number 10. Vote what our country needs, not what you need. Who is eligible to vote? A Filipino citizen, 18 years old on or before Election Day, May 9, 2022, a resident of the Philippines for at least 1 year, and a resident of the place where you intend to vote for at least 6 months preceding Election Day, not otherwise disqualified by law. Voting is just one of the examples on how we can participate and be engaged to bring positive change in our community and nation. Let's vote, let's engage, and be a catalyst for a change by voting wisely.